what's the date? God damn it. July 30th. I don't even know. Episode 148, available on DTube, Vimeo, DTube, Vimeo, Vio, YouTube, Anchor, BitChute. So that will be in the top comment in the description. And yeah, my buddy Jack McDermott, who I've known since 5th grade. Well, so we were just talking about video games. So let's jump right back to it. I just wanted to start recording before I got too ADD and forgot. But yeah, I'm just playing GTA 5. I turned off the cops, and I like to get lost in an audiobook, and just right now I'm listening to what's the name of it? It's actually very good. I thought it would be goofy. UFOs, generals, pilots, and government officials go on the record by Leslie Keene, and it's like a very unsexy. It's not like, oh, little green men. It's just like it's all former like Air Force officials, like Pentagon officials, and it's just like very cut and dry like reports. And it's when it's put in that light, it's a little more eerie because when it's all sexy and sci-fi, you can just brush it off. But when it's like F-22 pilots, like, yeah, I was watching this light, and then it shot across the sky, and then went directly up, and then went down, and went over the horizon at Mach 100, and I couldn't even track it. I don't know what that was. And it's like, Bob Smith, like 35 year like Air Force veteran. And it's like, it's a little weird. It's a little eerie. But yeah, Jack, why don't you introduce yourself for everyone listening?
Sure. I'm Jack McDermott. Tommy and I have known each other, Tommy mentioned, since 5th grade. I'm the founder of Humanity Capital. It's a venture startup sort of grassroots movement where we're investing in the world's best asset, people, instead of corporations or companies or the stock market, creating a place where you could help grow people. And the whole idea behind it was sort of sparked by the idea of like, you invest money in corporations and companies, and that allows them to grow and take risks, and a sense to be, the best that they can be. And the idea was, what if you could actually do that for a person? What if you could lift somebody up their Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where to fulfill their shelter and food and everything, and then they can just be left to create and be left to produce and be able to become the best that they can be, because someone bet on them, because someone invested in them. And you sort of these sort of already exist on some college campuses. They're called income sharing agreements, where someone will take on someone's student loan debt, or give someone a few $1,000s for their student loan debt, and the student will agree to share a small percentage, usually between 1 or 10% of their income for the next few years, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And it's sort of making the idea, thinking about if we have systems that we're not really always happy with and that sort of benefit corporations instead of people, why don't we change the system? Why don't we figure out ways that we can change and invest in people and help them grow? And so that was sort of the idea behind Humanity Capital. I got the logo behind me.
Yeah. I like it, man.
I
love I'd love the idea. I'm not just kissing your ass. I legitimately fucking love the idea.
Yeah.
I think it's badass.
Yeah. And so practicality and how it works is, so according to the Securities and Exchange Commission, if you're what's called an accredited investor, and all that means is an individual that's made $200,000 on their last 2 years tax returns, you don't have to invest in a security. You can invest in anything. So you can invest in person. And that's sort of how it works. And you sort of, we would sort of handle the contracts, we would handle the connection center, we would handle all the logistics of the connection, and then we would help work out an agreement, maybe between 1 and 10% or 10% of the income in return for, $1,000 or a few thousand or tens of thousands of dollars to help that individual. And so that's sort of how it would work. And yeah, it's really, really exciting time.
That dude, that's absolutely beautiful. I had on my buddy yesterday, Marcus Cardona, who's a stand-up comedian. I don't know if you remember, but at Pius, I moved up to Maine for 1 year, and stayed in touch with some of them, 2007 to 2008. One of them was Marcus Cardona, and he's a stand-up comedian now in New York. Anyway, but we were talking yesterday, like, what would you do if you had $1 billion? And we were like, like anything we start or, wills you set up, like, is that going to help out like the next generation? Are they just going to become bratty trust fund kids? And we both
Yeah.
concluded that like what the thing we would do was try to help eliminate undifferentiated pain. Not like maybe if I get someone a car, they can go to work, or maybe I put this person through the best private school and they'll become, because that doesn't always work out. But we were like, it does suck, regardless if you're black or white, regardless if you're straight or gay, man or woman, regardless if you're Jeff Bezos or just, an unwanted child in some tribe in Africa. Like, what sucks? Being thirsty or not having
Yeah,
food.
for sure.
An empty stomach sucks. Diarrhea sucks. Splinters suck. Shoes, water, food, sunburns suck. Look how white I am. Shelter, that'd be nice. Vaccines are, that doesn't mean I can stop the oppressive warlords in your country, but like that immediate, unpolitical, those base pains that everyone fucking hates,
Yeah.
a cavity, a boil, just some base, where like, what would we alleviate? And it would be just take that away. And maybe they'll become some movie story where they come out of Africa and become CEO. Maybe they don't. But it was like, but what if you could just get rid of that just baseline hell,
Totally.
And I think that's kind of what you're saying on a different level. But yeah, what if
Yeah.
we could just? That's what this podcast is, dude. I started working at a liquor store because like I haven't turned this into money yet. I want to turn this into money because I found even working the last 2 weeks, the quality of my podcasts have gone down because I don't have all the free time I do to just read, go online, have, listen to the news, just always get topics, email 100 people a day. Now it's, I'll work 8 hours and, come home and I'm exhausted and it's like, fuck. So that's my thing is like, how do I get enough money? How do I save up enough money to give myself like a year block of like being able to go live in an apartment and try to get the podcast going? What is this in any way related to Karma cryptocurrency?
They're different ventures, but they're around the base idea that we're trying to unleash the goodness in humanity. The sort of the logo is sort of helping hands behind me, and sort of relating to your story that you just talked about. What if someone could bet on you and say, this Tommy Kerrigan, me personally, I've known you my whole life. I know that you were going to have a successful podcast. Like other than investing in myself and my ventures that I'm going on, what if I was allowed to, right now can't do it because I don't not an accredited investor, but what if I was able to bet on Tommy Kerrigan and say, I'll give you $40,000 for your startup, for your podcast, or for whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned your comedian friend. I think this idea kind of was ruminating my head for I think a few years, like loosely. I remember like thinking a couple of years ago that like two of my favorite comedians are Sam Morril and Mark Norman, and they're New York comedians that are really popular right now. But like a few years ago, no one really knew about them, and I knew they're going to be really good.
Yeah.
And so I remember thinking at the time, I think I said this to a couple of people, like if I could just like invest in those comedians, only I could just like give them like a few $1,000 or whatever I can spare, and like in their future income, maybe like a small percentage for the exchange. That would be really cool. And I often say to my girlfriend or people, I always say like joking, I'm like, is your stock rising or falling today? Today, are you if people could invest in you, would they be selling or buying? Like you do things every day that
I like that
are going to be that are going to help you or hurt you, and sort of your status. And thinking about that inspires me of like like I'm thinking of myself that way of like just the ability for me to succeed. but yeah, let's getting back to your original point. Yeah, like we talked about the absolute high degree of needs and the carbon credits. The good we sort of saying carbon credits are backed by the goodness of humanity, and humanity capital is about helping people and understanding that when you invest in a person, you're betting on them, and so it's all about trust. And so it's not a loan; it's an investment where you hopefully you have a future that is a percentage of the future income. But if they don't make that much, or if they don't work out, then you lose your investment. It's because it's you trust them, and you see them, and you know about them, and you know that they're going to be successful. So it's sort of like creating a system in which it's sort of creating an incentive to give people money. The way I like to work at it too. There's this, there's universal basic income, different policies of like giving just people cash or stimulus when they need it. But what if I could tell you that, and some people say you give people money because you care or you don't care. I've had people say to me, like, this is sort of like a Band-Aid, and you can't teach people how to care. And my point is, I don't have to. Even if people don't necessarily do it for their own special kind of charitable reason, I'm telling to the people, it's good for you to invest in a person. It helps you grow your wealth.
Yeah.
Imagine if your investment portfolio grew as people you knew was going to be successful.
Yeah.
As they grew.
Yeah.
And you're going to make back your investment and more potentially. That's what you're doing when you're investing. That's what you're banking on, is you're going to make that money back. So it's an incentive for people to give people money, and trusting those people when you give the money to help out their situation. That way, once you clear their food, shelter, absolute heck that they're going to really achieve, and really you're going to create, and really going to be successful.
Dude, I agree with that 1,000%. What about someone like you that knows someone like me? Like, I can't pitch myself to anyone, but friends that have known me forever, it's like, oh, that's the motherfucker that was like a weightlifter in high school and got into med school. It's like, oh, you're making a podcast. It's like, oh man, I can't wait to see it go. But like, not to jerk myself off, but like, that's what it is. I remember Matt Walker sent me a link to Joe Rogan's podcast in late November, early December 2011. And he was like, hey, the Fear Factor guy like thinks like us. That was the text. Because there's the link he sent me is a video. You can find it. It's called What is Reality? And it's like an early mashup of Rogan's rants back when no one knew like the podcast. He was the Fear Factor guy. But he's going on and on and on. Dude, I must have listened to that 10-minute clip. I fuck you not, dude, 1,000 times before I finally like realized that it was a podcast. I thought it was just him talking on like radio shows. I didn't realize it was his thing. But I remember hearing that, and when I first tuned into his podcast for the first time, probably like summer 2012. Again, always knew him as the Fear Factor guy, but I was like, what is this? Here, everything else is you get 30 minutes at night, 10 minutes of talking, commercials. Here's the new Dodge Durango. And I was like, here's this motherfucker. And he's like, brought to you by the Fleshlight. And he's sitting there smoking pot with Buddhas around him, talking to people about whatever. And 1 minute they're talking about, a new Sidewinder missile on an F-16. And the next minute they're talking about Pamela Anderson. And then the next minute they're going into the stock market and Occupy Wall Street. That was one of the early episodes. The Arab Spring. And do you think Obama's going to beat Romney? And then it's, back to titties. And I was just like, this is so great. I was like, it just feels, and it took me a while to put my finger on. I was like, oh, it's just what it is. It's just a conversation. And point being, I remember thinking like, God, I wish there was like a Rogan stock, even though I had student loans. But I was like, I remember thinking I kept a journal in college. I'm sure I can dig it up on one of my external hard drives. I was like, I wish there was like a Rogan stock. Because it's like a Tesla where you like, who's this Elon Musk character? You're like, this guy's going to be big. And now it's like Rogan just signed a deal for what, $100 million? And it's like, fuck. But that's what I remember thinking. Like, but it's happened with like my friend Ivan from Bulgaria, Mr. Bulgaria, 6'4". He looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now he's in Vegas. He's won a couple. He's placed number 1 at a couple bodybuilding competitions. It's just a matter of time before this dude is the next. Like, I'll be back. Like, it's, Schwarzenegger, The Rock. Next one's going to be Ivan, and it's like there's no Ivan stock though. There's no, what do
Yeah.
I guess you could say. Like companies in a way bet on people like that. Maybe like a whey protein company would bet on him, get huge sponsorship, and that's what he does. It's the hierarchy of needs. He needs enough to pay for his gym membership in his apartment. That way, he doesn't have to spend time at whatever Best Buy helping people out.
Yeah, so they buy advertisements and sponsor him in the hopes that people will see it and buy their products. But what if you could say that there's even a greater potential of income for that? I think this guy Joe Rogan's going to be so successful that what did today Alyssa Milano was like, Joe Rogan has 3 times as many views as me, or something. Like people are amazed by how successful the podcasting medium has done, and he brought it to a huge sort of free form, non-constricted time, and it's just it's a different way of thinking about it, because if you could sort of pay for Joe Rogan's he was moving from California to Texas, but let's say back in those times he sort of really couldn't really find a home, or couldn't really figure out a stable location, and you just you gave him money, and he agreed to share, let's say 1% of his income over the next 10 years. Well, right now you'd be making a lot of money,
billions.
Like 100,000 or more, for like maybe a couple thousand investments, or so like it's so that kind of and it's investing in people, and there's a lot of people like saying that we get the whole like the economy needs to work with the people, or people need to be more involved, and there are systems, and a lot of the ways that people are not happy with the systems in America, and so the solution, it's going to be system oriented. Okay, well let's change the system. Let's change the incentive structure so we can create ways, align people to grow and help each other. And that is in alignment with karma credits, rewarding kind things for other people, and it's definitely in the same vein, and definitely aligning with a lot of pro people incentives.
Now, how does it go from a neat idea, which it is, I think it's awesome, but what is I guess a healthy criticism, or a healthy cynical critic? How does it become real? Like, for example,
sure.
How would somebody go, what do you need to live? What is like the bare minimum you need to live a year? $1,500 a month, 2,000. What is like the bare minimum? $24,000 a year.
Let's say that. Sure.
So someone like me, I would need $96,000, 4 years. In 4 years, if every day I could wake up, work out, research, listen to audiobooks, find guests. You give me 4 years with exponential growth. Fuck yeah, I could have this podcast over 1 million subscribers. I truly believe that. If my dumbass got into med school, I could do that. But I can't do that because I have to work.
Right.
How would that, just using me as an example, how would that go about? Like, is there the equivalent of a stock exchange? Do I make my IPO, Tommy, TPC? How does it work? I'm legitimately curious.
We have the TPC, now we got the TPS, TP stock. So to make it real, all you have to do is to go to humanitykapitalinvesting.com and sign up as an investee. So you say, I'm Tommy Kerrigan, here's my podcast, this is what I do, sort of telling a little bit of information about yourself and what your plan is, of how you're going to make back the investment that you're asking for. And then we're going to have, you can sign up as an investor or an investee. So if you want to be an investee, you sign up to that, or you sign up as an investor and you sort of select people, or you see people on the website that you want to invest in. And once we confirm that they're an accredited investor, and they've had discussions with you, we can sort of draw up that investment. So it's as simple as that.
I'm gonna sign up after this.
Yeah,
I'll just have you text me the link. I'll post it again. What is it again? Humanity Capital?
HumanityCapitalInvest.com.
Humanity Capital Investor Investment.
Investing.
HumanityCapitalInvesting.com. I will literally sign up tonight, Jack. I will
That
make
sounds
my
great.
pitch. I'll go get pictures of my like tour badge from Miami Med School. Like, I really did it. I did the thing. I will legitimately do that. I will be your first investee. And that would be badass, because what if I do make money one day? What if I could invest in an Ivan? Be like, this motherfucker is going to be the next Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Now, how is this different from like a bank loan? Is it like an
So
investment in that you're just, if it doesn't work, it sucks to be the investor and I don't owe anything.
Investing inherently is risky in the sense that
gambling. It's sanctioned gambling.
They're betting on you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a loan. If it doesn't work out, or if things come up in your life, that is how it happens. And it's different from a bank loan in that you're not, the credit people will never come after you and never collections or any you don't owe them anything. All you've agreed to is just, let's say, 1% of your income, 1 to 5% of your income for the next few years, and you just give them that, and it happens to be a small amount, and they don't make that back their investment fully. So it's going to be sort of a vetting process, and they'll get to know you, to know that you're going to do really well, and it's an agreement of both parties. So it doesn't have to be like a huge lump sum. It can start out small. It can be adjusted. It's flexible. So it's the idea is that both parties win, right? So the idea is that they help you grow, and in turn you make much more income and are successful, so that you help their portfolio grow, their investment grow. So inherently, it's aligned incentive. So you both will want each other to be successful. So and also in the process, it involves being sort of an accredited investor in our firm. It would involve like sort of a mentorship role. And like that's sort of, if you ever watch Shark Tank, they invest in companies that aren't securities, but they offer like sort of like an informal mentorship role, where they'll take calls, or they'll have like meetings with you, or help you, and that's sort of what it would be. An accredited investor would want you to succeed, and so they would take on a mentorship role and help you wherever you thought they could be helpful. So that's another aspect of it, is aligned incentive, and also just a real tangible mentorship, and creating a win-win for people, and lifting people to be the best they can be.
That's awesome. Yeah. So like normally, what would it just like with like a normal bank loan? What would it, if I had $96,000 over 4 years, $2,000 a month? What would you end up paying something just like, it's like a normal bank loan or a student loan? What would you end up paying back on that? Like 120?
I mean,
100?
yeah. I mean, with interest.
Yeah. Versus like this would be, let's say I get a Fat Rogan Spotify deal in 2025, 2030.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be paying back 120,000. I'd be paying back 5 to 10 million. But that's the whole reason why you can get that 96,000 in the first place without.
And let's say you sign up for 1 to 2% of your income, 5%, and if 5% of your income is $10 million, I mean, that's pretty great. Like, it's a pretty and that might not have happened. I mean, that
would not have happened at all.
Wouldn't have happened without that initial.
100% wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I mean, yeah. So for me, I would happily, give up 10 million out of my 200 million that I made that year.
Absolutely. I'd fucking give half. I would to make that happen. Now let's say someone like me. Yeah, because I would never take that loan out of a bank, because I think that in itself would probably ruin the podcast, because I think I would probably be so anxious every night for 4 years being like, is it going to work? That I probably wouldn't be a good podcast host. I'd just be like freaking out the whole time.
Totally.
Versus like I got a chance, like let's run with this bitch. It's completely different energy. Now, let's say, just using myself as an example, Jesus, 2,000 a month, 4 years, 96,000. That doesn't just have to be one person though, right? I could make my IPO, if you will. I don't even know if that's the right. metaphor, can multiple people invest different? You could buy, just like when someone buys one stock and someone else buys 45,000 shares. Can you do it as that? Can you have like, I need to raise this?
Yeah, that's honestly TBD. It's a lot of research into what, like sort of like what makes it sort of with the okay by the SEC is that it's like sort of like a mentorship role, and is sort of an accredited investor that is investing to help a person in their, and they can share in their income agreement. I have seen some pooled investment structures similar in the past tried, but I would need to look into it more. But that's definitely an exciting idea, and I think it's definitely possible. I haven't seen anything that is not possible, but yeah, it's definitely an exciting idea, and it could be possible.
Yeah, and it's so like I have to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube to get monetized, and that's when they'll put those shitty 15-second ads at the beginning. Geico, Burger, just all that shit. But then there's the whole censorship issue, which is a very real issue. I mean, since Rogan has announced that he will be exclusively on Spotify come January, he rarely ever trends anymore, despite being Joe fucking Rogan.
Yeah.
Because YouTube sees him, he's like, this guy's not going to be our cash cow. Yesterday he had on Post Malone, who's probably my favorite artist. Post Malone is huge in himself, 19 million subscribers on YouTube. Rogan, just Joe Rogan, everyone knows that name. Joe fucking Rogan has 9.1 million subscribers. He had on Post Malone on his podcast yesterday. Joe Rogan, Post Malone, together on psychedelic mushrooms, talking about UFOs for 4 hours. It did not trend. It was not on the autofill search bar. It was on no trending or popular or anything. Had over 1 million views in under an hour. That is an example right there of censorship. So if it happens at that level, no one even notices it when it happens on a smaller level. But I've used this example before. Literally at work, I watched 20 people literally on their phones. I watched them subscribe. Customers, people, friends of people subscribe in one day. 20, and I watched my subscriber count go up 1, because this isn't a far left podcast. I don't hate Trump. I don't think he's the best, but I don't hate him. I think you should be able to own guns. I don't think there's anything wrong with a strong border. All shit that is not in lockstep. And I'm not trying to pull this podcast into a political argument.
It's all good.
But the point being is there is an agenda that if you don't walk on that line, you don't get the keys to the kingdom. And so for someone like myself, there's a very real thing where I do have to go out and find a way to get this monetized, because I'm not banking on YouTube anymore. I could very well see me getting to 1,000 subscribers and then them just saying, you violate the terms of service. What do you mean? You said the wrong word. So I've literally, the last week, I've been calling breweries, distilleries, pot companies, sex toy companies. I've been calling companies that in general are a little bit more relaxed just because of the very product they deliver. And I've been trying to get them to sponsor the podcast. I haven't had any success yet, but like, because I've realized like I'm not going to get it to the traditional channel, the traditional channel, the traditional form. So your idea really does ring. It kind of hits home with me, because I'm like, that's exactly like what I need. That's exactly what I need to figure out, because you're right. It's the hierarchy of needs. I turned 30 in 8 days. My parents aren't going to let me be here forever. They're going to kick me the fuck out, and that's fine. I completely understand that. But admittedly, the podcast suffers when I work. I love where I work. I love the people I work with, but it's not podcasting. And it's like why I took out a loan in college, because I was like, I can go work at a bar and be a bouncer. And I did do that in 2 separate years. But my grades suffered when I did that. So I took out a loan, and it sucked, and I hated it, and it gave me anxiety. But when I did that, and so I could just pay for my rent, books, food, that's when I started getting 4.0 semester after semester after semester. And then I got into med school. Let's say I had gone on and gone to med school, I would have made that money back and would have paid that loan with no problem.
1,000%.
Yeah, I took out 3 consecutive $10,000 loans, $30,000. mean, you're an anesthesiologist and you're pulling in $600K. Like, you pay that, but I would have been able to do that if I had to have worked at a bar and was exhausted and not going to sleep till 4 a.m. I would have got C's and I would have never gotten to med school. But that's my mindset right now. I'm like I need to find a way to pay for a shitty apartment, food, water, 1,800 calories a day, access to a gym. And I know myself and I know my psychopathic work ethic. To me, it's not if, it's when. I will get my podcast to work. And anyone that knows me knows that's true.
Oh yeah.
But your idea really, it hits home with me, because that's exactly what, and for every me, I know there's 1,000 others doing the same thing. They're,
there's absolutely 1,000 people that, even your previous example, let's say you had gone to med school or been, there's huge concerns about, hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. And there are tons of people across the country that are, reconsidering going to college, reconsidering just doing different really expensive, schooling or MBAs or medical schools, because they just don't have the money, and they don't know, even in a field like law, like where, when I was in college, I was told that the law lawyers are actually saturated. There might be too much, but I didn't know. If I had someone that was an accredited investor that knew what he was talking about, knew the potential for earnings, or knew my path, and just said, you're going to be fine. I know this industry, I want to invest in you, and I'm going to take the pressure off so that you can start getting those 4.0s, like you mentioned. You can start just focusing on your school, and you don't have to be stressed out about a loan all the time, where you're just debilitating anxiety, and you are just set to succeed, which you want to do, because you want to go to law school, you want to go to medical school, you want to do that would be such a huge, it already exists in some senses, but if it was just opened up to all accredited investors where they could do that, that would just, make people even more successful that are on those paths. Or I remember in college, I had an idea for, I always lose things, so I'm very scatterbrained. So I had an idea for I think I called it a bump it, where you attach something to a small object to your keys or your wallet, and just like calling your phone, you press a button and it just starts beeping, right? And it you attach it to and you don't, let's say, to trigger it, you could just have a dashboard on your home or apartment where you can just press a button. And I remember thinking well, I don't really have any, I'm a college student, I don't have any money, I don't have the resources, I'm just going to focus on school. And then a couple of years ago, I saw my girlfriend gave me these things that were that were literally, and I was it was if I 2011, if I had just if I had a little bit of help, a little bit of mentorship, a little bit of money, I could have made that happen. And that, and it's any college student has thinks of themselves as an idea man or an ideal person, and they have ideas, and they just need a little mentorship. That's what this program is designed to do, is help those people, or the people that want to strict to medical school or law school or whatever profession you need to get into. The point is, it helps all kinds of people achieve their potential, whatever that is. And it helps people that are on the path and have good work ethic like you do, or others that are that are investees, and it helps them, but while also guaranteeing a level of income to the person that took a bet on you in return. So it's just aligning the two, and it's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, that's what I like about it, is it's not just an idyllic, romantic, what if we all had everything taken care of and we could just pursue that? Yeah, it sounds great. It'd also be great if there's no such thing as war. It's, some things are pie in the sky. But this is this isn't that. This is no, you can be an investor and make a fuck ton of money.
Yep.
Grab the reins of capitalism. Don't. Yeah.
You don't have to be an idealist. You can be a cynic.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be romantic. Yeah, you can literally be, you got your $100 million and you're oh, fuck this kid Tommy. His flag's always backwards. This kid's an asshole. He's got a gap tooth.
But
I like money. But I like money. I don't like him, but I like money. Fuck it. Here's $96,000, asshole.
Yeah.
And then I get it. I give him a bunch of money, and we never have to be friends. But it can be But you're right. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not a flowery, idyllic. What if we all just like, yeah, I know those are all great, and what if there's no such thing as death? Like, but reality comes knocking. It's
And you can, yeah. My point is, you can be a realist and
yes,
realistically model out the timeline of the money when you're gonna break even, and when you're gonna earn more
mhm,
money, and like you can even as a realistic person or cynic, you could be like you want to win, so you want to make back more your investment. So
yeah,
and
yeah,
at the same time you're winning against that person. The person's also winning because they're making way more money. Like it's
yeah, and there can be people where you look at them and you're like, I'm not giving you a penny. I don't believe in you. And that's fine. You can just be
that's
like,
fine, exactly.
you're just like, I don't see it. I don't see you getting me anything. It's I remember I torrented like all the major like medical school prep guides my last year of college, so like 2012, spring 2013. Kaplan, Berkeley Review, Exam Crackers, all of them, Princeton Review, and then I went full OCD for like 9 months, and I made something like 2,000 slides of all the different material, and I kind of Venn diagrammed it. I got the best stuff from each of them, and I put it together. Highly illegal. It was all torrented. It was all stolen. But it's been 7 years. I'm pretty sure that's the statute of limitations, so we're Gucci. But I remember I put it all together. I got a 35 on the MCAT, which was 95.6th percentile. And I didn't take any of these $2,000 courses. And I remember as soon as I got in, I was like, well, I'm no longer competing. So I put them up on Reddit. And you can actually go onto my Reddit account, Calypso Casino, and go back. You can scroll back to my first post on Reddit, and it is what I'm telling you right now. You can go back, find it all. You can verify all of it.
No, yeah.
I have in 7 years. So I posted in 7 years, dude. And the reason I did it is because I remember I had two friends, Sungyup and Obi. I won't say their last names. One was from South Korea and one was from like Kenya, who couldn't because their parents were poor as shit. You know, I grew up very comfortable. I went to OLA in St. Pius, as you know, and
Yeah.
as you did. These guys were not. Parents owned laundromats. Parents didn't speak English. And I remember their grades were struggling, but I remember thinking like these guys are both fucking geniuses. They're working hard as fuck. So I remember I put up these studies, and again, it sounds just like I'm patting myself on the back. That's not the point I'm trying to get at. I'm an asshole. But I remember I sent it to them, and they were like, "Dude, thank you so much." And one of them was like, "Put it on Reddit." So that's what I did. Not to this day, to this year, I still get messages from people, emails from like, defunct emails that I forgot I even have. And it's like, hey man, like you posted this study guide like 8 years ago, and I'll be like, yeah, but I just want to let you know that like I couldn't afford classes, but like that got me in, and now and now I just finished residency, or now like I'm married with 3 kids, but hey, just wanted to give you a shout out. Like literally got one last fall 2019. I think that was the last one I got, but it was like, hey dog, I'm finishing up like my psychiatry residency at like Tulane, but like like your study guide like got me in, so like shout out bro. And like there was no like I never did it to get anything, but it was very cool thinking like how many more doctors are maybe it's I mean I could probably count probably 30 legitimate examples of people saying they got in, but how cool is that there are 30 potentially, who knows, maybe they would have got in without it. But let's say that there are 30, let's say it's only 10% of that. Let's say there are 3 more doctors that there wouldn't have been. Think of how much one doctor affects the world.
Yep.
And the friends I have, I know for a fact, have gone and done things like hospital ships or Red Cross missions. And I'm like, how many people did that help because of that? Now let's take out that idyllic, because it was idyllic. I put them up. I didn't give a fuck. It was like I already got in. Did not come from like a loving place. I was just like I don't give a fuck. But what if that like was an investment? What if that was like a hey, these study guides, this took me
Yeah.
$1,000 to make. You guys give me 1% of your income. What if I was getting 1% of income from 30 physicians? Like,
Totally.
that's a very real, non-romantic, non-dreamy, like, shit, man, I could be sitting on like a cool 500 grand a year right now of return. And
Yeah.
and it would only be a fraction for them. But that's what I like what you're saying is it's not like a flowery kumbaya thing. It's like, dog, it can be as cutthroat as like floating a business on like Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
All right, I know.
You're mentioning it's just amazing how much your actions sort of giving that initial study guide or get them past their first hurdle and sort of how many lives it affects. It's really like a wonderful life, and not to sound too flowery rosy, but it's, you know, the butterfly effect is real in the sense of like the more like when you make money or when you earn by investing in people, those people are being lifted out of, let's say, poverty or lifted out of or just already well off and are making more money and are helping you know, by earning and creating, they're maybe employing people, or they're maybe creating more wealth, or you know, I definitely believe in that, and it's I completely agree with that, and it's but yeah, no, you're totally onto something there. Yeah,
I think you are. So good with doing like 14 minutes, end at 6:30. You good with doing 14 more minutes? We'll wrap it up at 6:30.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Sounds good.
I'm starving. So what's up?
Sorry, I lost your thought there. You're mentioning kind of like the backgrounds of people that grew up and whether they grew up well or not. And I actually just got done reading Jeff Bezos' written testimony to Congress, and he was talking about how he had a single mom that his mom went to school, and like he was like carried around in a duffel bag to school, and like she was like studying and also feeding him at the same time, and like you know, like both grew up well off, and just to the people that like Bezos said, he was like a garage inventor. He was creating things out of his garage, and just to those. And I actually got inspired by reading his testimony. One of the quotes he has was, you know, figure out a way to invent yourself out of something, like invent yourself out of it. And he was joking about how he used to create little inventions to mess with his siblings and stuff. And if you see like that kid that's just creative, and you see the kid that's like playing around, but he's actually figuring out how to create things, or even is doing really well as lemonade stand, or it's even like you can already tell it's like the savviness to like figure stuff out, like, and you know, good negotiation skills. And once they're 18, you just want to bet on them. So it's all about promise and connecting those people, regardless of the background, but also especially people that need that cash to start up, especially people that are in poverty or just on the line of poverty. But it's regardless of background, helping to make you money the same day you're helping someone else succeed.
Yeah. No, there's a book I think you would really like. I'll send you a link as well. But Space Barons by Christian Davenport, and it's basically like the origin stories of Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. It's literally like Superman origin stories, but like it is what they like, how they started, and it's inspiring as hell, and it's you can see like they both say like the most like pivotal point wasn't like when they made 20 billion. It was when they got just enough that it was like, okay, they like don't have to, you know, they don't have to do like a shitty job anymore. Now they can focus on this thing. And it's literally like Elon Musk like setting up SpaceX, and it's like a tiny little thing. He's like, we're gonna take on Boeing, and everyone's like, what the fuck? He's like, give me 15 years. But like once you put the money aside from Zip2 and PayPal, not a little, he had sold them for like 150 million. But once he had it, he was like, okay, I got this. And everyone was like, what? And he was like, now I have the money and I have the time. I'll be back in a minute. 15 years later, setting up the Dragon capsule, docking with the International Space Station, and then landing the rockets upright on fucking barges. And it's just like flex nuts, right? And it's like, but yeah, like, I mean, dude, Steve Jobs used to collect recyclables on the college campus where he went. And he'd bring him in and just get change. And every like Sunday he would go get like a free meal at the soup kitchen because he didn't have diddly shit for money. And then he became Steve Jobs. This podcast is being done on a MacBook Pro. Next to me is an iPhone with some AirPods. Like, it's fucking Apple. Like, that stuff can happen. And why not? And again, it's not some dreamy, everyone's going to be successful. No, like, put a dollar amount on it. Be like, I'm going to get, you know, hey, you got a great pitch. It's cool. Oh, cool. Tommy, you got into med school. I don't give a fuck. Make me some money.
Totally. And diversify. So like
Yeah.
you diversify your stocks. What if you diversified in people? You had
Yeah.
you had an investment in a comedian, you had an investment in a business owner, you had
Yeah.
investment in a marketer, you had an investment in a lawyer.
Yeah.
And some of them are going to do as well as you thought, but some of them are going to do way better than you thought. And the best
Yeah.
way, just because all of these people are looking to earn more money and are trying to be successful, and you've confidence in all of them, not knowing all the other factors of what luck might break their way, or what promotion they didn't get, or what family things, what family member might die, or whatever's going on in their lives. If you diversify, or if you invest in a bunch of different people and you diversify your portfolio, you're pretty much just like the stock market. You diversify, you guarantee like at least a 6% chance, 6% interest or growth every year through the stock market and through your 401k. But if you can invest in people, and those people are on average are guaranteed to be successful, you've just helped 10, 12, 15, 20 people become successful and you're earning a significant amount of money, because sure, it might be 6% or 10% or more, that much over your investment, but that if you invest a lot of money, it's a lot of money. So it's and diversify, and you're picking out different people in different categories, to be successful, and that's just going to lead to success on both ends.
Yeah. Not only that, and maybe this does sound a little romantic or idyllic, but fuck it, who cares? There's nothing wrong with being optimistic.
Yeah.
Let's say you invest in 10 people, $100,000 each. Let's say I'm one of them. Let's say 9 of them fuck off, but I make it and I blow up my podcast. 10 times 100,000, so he spent $1 million. But then let's say I get a Rogan deal and he gets 10% of that. Now you're getting $10 million back for your million investment. But you know what I'm going to do in return? If I'm now sitting on 90 million, gave 10 million back, I'm going to be looking for the next podcaster, the next musician, the next fucking whatever. Here's a dude that makes art with, I don't know, old broken Xboxes or some shit that normally wouldn't get any, but you're like, fuck it, I can see that guy's art pieces in the Guggenheim. Fuck it. Here's $100,000. Does it work? All right. But one of them does work. Here's Ivan. And next thing you know, he's the new Terminator. It can still be a beautiful thing. It can still be a money thing. But like, one of those people succeeds, you goddamn, unless they're just a real asshole, they're going to turn around and they're going to do it again. Whether it's to build their own wealth, or whether it's just to sort of, give it back, see the next thing rise up. I love it, Jack. I fucking love it. You've sold me.
All right, that's fantastic. Yeah, it's like you're saying you have an interest in, you think that they're going to be the next big comedian because you like their form of comedy, or a lot of that being a good investor is just being right when everyone else is wrong. So like you know that person, you have confidence in that person, and you invest in a bunch of different people that like you have a special niche in understanding why they're going to be successful. I'm investing in different cryptocurrencies right now, and I'm not an expert or like a crypto trader or any sort of, but as being in the cryptocurrency space and create a cryptocurrency that can unleash people like me to create cryptocurrencies. I invest in a bunch of cryptocurrencies that are doing that are making it more user friendly and mass adoption, and not having all this crypto jargon and sort of needless technicality to where people don't understand. And my portfolio is up like 25% in the past month because like I have like a way of viewing things that I think, because I've been in the crypto space, or I see the way it's going for the unleashment of regular people to create cryptocurrencies and to create wealth through earning, once people have the sort of capital to do so, through humanity capital.
Yeah.
Both these ventures are all about unleashing the goodness in humanity and unleashing the people to succeed and building trust. So trust is a major factor of it, and mentorship and communication, and just creating situations where both parties are going to be successful.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, cryptocurrency is all black magic to me, but
it was to me about 2 years ago, and it's still like gray magic. It's still like
gray magic.
It's still like still cloudy magic. I'm not really sure, but
kind of get the incantations down. You kind of still turn some shit into frogs, but you're like, we're working on it.
So I understand kind of the jargon, but I don't really understand much more. So, but I understand what I've done and what the currencies that are doing it are doing. So it's, yeah, I mean, just making a stance and figuring out how to invest your money and how to spread your knowledge to other people, and unleash people to earn, and through cryptocurrency or through their own life and income and businesses and ideas.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
And like, who knows what can come out of it? I mean, the guys who created Grand Theft Auto, when they went to pitch their like Gen 1 beta test of like GTA 1, where it was literally like 2D bird's eye view, there was a glitch in it that made the cops just go crazy. So they wouldn't just try to pull you over. They would, I mean, it's the classical GTA thing. You know,
Yeah.
cops are literally, they go full kamikaze on you. They'll fly off a bridge, and it doesn't matter.
That's one of the most iconic things about the game now.
It's just the exact, I was just playing. They don't give a fuck, dude. They were chasing me on a helicopter. I went into a tunnel. They tried to follow me. They wiped out, took out a city bus, 20 casualties, but it's the iconic GTA. They will fucking use themselves as battering rams to kill you. That was a glitch in the original one. And when they were doing the live pitch to the late 90s, when they go to pitch it and they're showing them on the screen, they were both the guys, I think it was two brothers, they're terrified, they were horrified. They were like, what is this fucking glitch? And it's because these cops are just going crazy. As the legend goes, apparently the investors were just in tears laughing because they thought it was the greatest thing ever. Psychopathic, kamikaze, suicidal cops.
Wait, it was a glitch at the investor meeting?
It was a glitch at the investor meeting.
That's amazing.
The rest is history.
That's hysterical.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But now it's like I'm playing it on an Xbox One X on a wireless controller on a 4K TV in 2020, but it's GTA 5. And despite all the great graphics and physics, what's the funniest thing? Is goddamn cops flying off bridges, blowing up, hitting gas stations, just, one of us is gonna die! Like, you know, just screaming shit. And not quite humanity capital, but it's the same idea, man. What if you just see something that makes you laugh and you're like, fuck it. Let's see where this goes. Yeah. GTA 5, best-selling game of all time. Like,
I mentioned to you earlier the Dungeons and Dragons games I'm helping to run. I'm actually creating kind of like a video game, kind of, where I'm putting all the characters on a computer and like where they can move around and like go to different places. And it's very basic, but there's a character, there's like a superhero theme, and one of the superheroes can like turn invisible. So I like accidentally made the character invisible, and I was like, oh, that works for it's like different ideas.
Yeah.
Like, and I didn't even mean to. So it's like just like, you know, different creativity people. And my point is like if you invest in me, like, look, for example, I have humanity capital, I have karma credits, I have just different stuff that I want to do and create, and you're investing in that person, and knowing you're investing, and just sort of wrapping up, just knowing that you're investing in a person and you're helping that person be successful, and whatever their interest is, and talking about, they'll tell you how they're going to earn it back, but they could, and you know, even if they change their mind, or even if they change fields, whatever they're going to do because of their work ethic, your work ethic, my creativity, or whatever, they're going to be successful because you've seen them, you know them, you've seen them increase their income over a certain time, or shown really great promise and skills, and they have marketable skills. They just need the capital. So it's really all about investing in a person, and investing in people, and helping each other out, and mentoring, and figuring out how we succeed by helping others succeed.
Yeah. And you don't want to invest in someone that's just, and no hate on them. I get it. I get the comfort of a 9-to-5. I do. I'm not shitting. I used to shit on it. I don't shit on it anymore. I get it. You want to have a wife, a kid, you just want to watch Netflix. That's badass. But to the fucking weirdo like myself or you, those are the fucking psychos that they might end up face down dead in a ditch. But on the other end, what did Steve Jobs say? Those who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are often the ones that do. Like,
yeah. Like, whether you think you can or can do it, you're probably right. And to your point, let's say someone sees a risky investment in different people. You can also invest in a lot of people that are doing 9-to-5 jobs, and they're going to be successful, or they're going to do well at their jobs because they have the skills for that job, and they know they leave. Let's say they need money for a down payment on a house, and they just don't. They really need the space for their new kids, or they're really struggling with their family and new expenses that came up. Their car got in a wreck, and they just different. It can just be applied to very normal situations, normal situations, and just helping out their family and getting through that and knowing that they're going to be successful. And so it can be on a very personal, but also in a very normal sort of way as well.
Safe, unrisky, your blue chip people. Here's a guy that needs money to buy a new Honda. He's an accountant. Okay,
and he would use the Honda for his job that he's going to be successful at. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, here's a 99% chance I'm going to get my money back on my investment with maybe a couple percent growth. And then for every 50 of those you do, you see some psychopath ranting in front of a podcast screen like myself, and you're like, fuck it, $50 on black. Let's see what happens. It's, oh, fuck it. Spin the wheel. Who knows? I mean, I know I said we'd wrap this up, but example,
take your time.
What the fuck is his name? I can never remember his name. I have no idea what it is. I'm just going to sound racist if I guess it, but I think it's something Chow. But he was this dude that made this really fucked up, weird graffiti, super vulgar, rated X, just pornography. Had his life all fucked up. Didn't really know what he was doing. He's been on Joe Rogan, but for years, in the 90s, he just was always fucking up. Was addicted to gambling. Was always getting beat up by loan sharks and shit. But he was an artist like no other. And finally, some small company, some Silicon Valley company was this early 2000s. It was hey, we want something different. They're all trying to break out of the mold, right? They're all getting that Google energy. And they're we want you to come do just some crazy, hands-off, graffiti inside the office. Do whatever you want. And he did it. It was great. And they were hey, we can pay you $25,000 for what you did. Or do you want whatever, 25,000 stock shares? And the guy, being a gambler, was fuck it, I'll take it. Well, that was Facebook, and he made $500 million.
It's amazing.
He's been set since. He's been on Rogan. Just Google any of those terms and you'll find him. But why can't that happen? Why can't you just Either way, they kind of invested in this guy, but at the same time, he was fuck it, let's see what happens, and a thing became Facebook. I'm not saying either were entirely responsible for the other, but it's kind of that idea, hey, it's I don't know, it's the Hail Mary in the last play of the game. Fuck it, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe you win the Super Bowl. Maybe it's incomplete, you'll lose your investment. Yeah, I get it. But maybe not. And that's my pitch for myself. So anybody listening. Humanity Capital Investing, shout out. So let's wrap this bitch up, Jack. And
sounds good.
Fuck yeah, brother. Always enjoyable. I got my test back from coronavirus today. I do not have it, so woo.
That's great.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. I'm not dead from coronavirus. So hey, it's the little wins. I will go on. I'll start processing this video immediately to upload, but I will go on humanitykapitalinvesting.com.
Sounds great. It's good about your results. If you have your health and you have everything, Yeah, go ahead, sign this.
Hey, I'm a good investment. I'm not going to die. And I work hard and I'm kind of crazy. It might work. It might not work. Buy TPC stock. TPS stock.
TPS. Love it.
Jack McDermott. Always good to see you, brother. Let's do another one.
All right, we'll do it.
All right, my man. Peace.
All right, have a good one.
You too, bud. Peace.